Rock and roll. All right, party time.
Godzilla says that I should learn to fight my own battles. No.
Well, hello there, cadets, and welcome back. We took a little time off, Major Hazzard and I, for a special assignment. Major Hazzard, are you there?
Yes, and everybody's been asking me for details, but I have to remind them, they're not cleared for security clearance. We can't tell them anything.
We can't tell them what happened. All I can say is it got really hairy. We were there as advisors only, and things got hairy when a thing showed up, and that's all I can say.
And emphasis on hairy, and I'll tell you, it was hairy and stinky. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. But we survived.
That's the bottom line. So we're here. We're back.
I just slid in right here. I was saying to behind the scenes, I just got in here right now. I'm all concocted up. I'm all sweated up. It's like we put our whole lives on the line to keep people safe, General. I don't think people really understand what goes on behind the scenes sometimes.
Yeah, even though I'm retired, they keep pulling me back. They keep pulling me back in.
You're basically not retired at all. You're not retired at all, in my estimation. You're even doing more work now than you were back in the service.
Anyway, I'm the only guy that deals with these kind of things. Yeah. So
you're needed.
Most people just don't even believe in this stuff. So anyway, we have a very special training film to talk about this time. It's Creepshow 2. We did Creepshow not long ago. And that was with our Stephen King expert, Miss Ruby Rae Moore, and she's here again today for this particular episode. Let's bring her on up.
Hey,
there she is.
Hi guys, thanks for.
And just be thankful you didn't get called in on what we just got called in for the last couple of weeks. It was just It was monstrous.
You see the picture, but you see the portrait behind you, Ruby, the green guy, the swamp thing. Let me just tell you, I'm not telling any details, but it was something a little bit similar.
Hazzard.
No, I'm not. It wasn't Swamp Thing. It wasn't Swamp Thing. I'm just saying it was just as bad as Swamp Thing. Is what I'm just saying. It wasn't the same thing, but it was just as bad as Swamp Thing.
We'll change the color to green.
There's Pan.
What's up, Pan?
Cadet Pan. Welcome. So anyway, let's get back to Creepshow 2. This was a lower budget Creepshow.
Yes.
It was produced by George A. Romero, who's famous for the Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead movies, those the Dead films. And he's from Pittsburgh. And it's Stephen King stories. It's short stories by Stephen King. And the first one, had 5 stories. This one only has 3. And animation. It has animation in it to save budget. So that was the weak spot of it for me. It was the animation. But in any case, to try to do, and we'll talk about it later when we get there, what they wanted to do in real life would have been very difficult. So they had to do it with animation. So the music in this is actually pretty good. Compared to Alan Harworth's soundtrack for the original Creepshow, though, it's not as good as that, but it's pretty good. And again, we have 3 stories, interest stories, and the star power in this, of course, because the budget was lower. There's not as many stars in this as there was in Creepshow, but there it is. It's still a fun watch. 2 of the 3 Stephen King stories are actually pretty scary, pretty creepy.
They don't.
So, and the other one is just plain out freaking weird. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So we're glad that you're back. We're glad that you're here with us. We're glad to be back. There's Hazzard.
I'm just wanting to say thank you to all the cadets who waited for us. You know, we wouldn't have left if it weren't absolutely necessary.
Yes.
But we just appreciate everyone coming back. And we also want to greet the replay squad. And we want to say that we got a lot of programming. We got Sandy D's No Icing right at 7 o'clock Eastern. And then immediately after, we got Journeys with M.M. Farwell. It's going to be a great evening, everybody. Just going to say that. Thank you.
And I got Peach Tea.
So he'll be making a lot of noises, everybody.
Yes.
That's what you should know. A lot of
No, I
noise.
won't. I don't make noise when I drink. I only do it because you want it. You want me to
No,
do
there's
it.
a lot of noises. There's noises, General. Trust me.
It's not like I'm, purposefully, that.
Ruby's got some noises that she can. Ruby's got some noises.
It's not like I'm doing that on purpose. I'm doing it because it amuses you and you like it. So anyway.
Okay. All right. I'll calm down.
This is produced by New World Pictures, which is like the Freddy Krueger films and some other stuff, and some other famous horror films. They like to do horror films. As usual, I think the town that we're in is in Maine, which is Stephen King territory. He loves Maine.
He does.
So I'm not sure, but there it is. That's my guess. So at the beginning, we see a truck pull up, and there's a kid on a bike waiting for it. It's got a Maine tag on it. It says "Creep." So we know who's in there. We know who's in the back of the truck. And I always found it kind of interesting that there was just a curtain on the back. So I mean, if he took off like at a green light or something, the creep might fall out the back of the truck. Anyway.
It doesn't seem very secure or safe at all.
Yes, it doesn't seem very secure.
It's
certainly what a civilian would think of. It's a very civilian, shoddy job.
This is the one thing I really like about this film, though, is they actually give the creep a kind of a personality. Ooh, and today's story, kind of like the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt thing. Hello, boys and girls. That guy. So they kind of give him a character, that's the way it was. If you read those old horror comic books, from EC Comics, they all had Uncle Creepy and Eerie, and they all had these guys that would tell you the stories.
Yeah.
Okay. But in the first Creepshow, it was just like a skeleton guy, and he was like, and that's it.
Yes.
And on the TV show that they have now, Creepshow, he just goes, that's the sound he makes. And that's it. He does different funny things in clips and stuff, like he's fishing and he pulls up a dead fish or something and he goes,
That's it.
That's it. That's all he does.
Well,
So it's kind of weird that he doesn't have a personality. He goes, hey, kiddies, welcome. We got some stories for you. He doesn't do that. He just goes,
I know.
like your drunk uncle at a party or something. He's had too much to drink. All right. So Billy is waiting for the creep. And he sees Billy. He's like, oh, you're here waiting for your Creepshow magazine, aren't you? And then it switches to the terrible animation. Sorry. I'm calling a spade a spade. So, and there was a little bit of animation in the first one, but it was very minimal. It was very minimal.
Very minimal.
So he jumps out of the back of the truck, changing into his outfit immediately. And we get the opening credit. Creepshow 2. And then he starts into the first story, which is, comic book fashion. He does the announcement, the narration of Old Chief Woodenhead. And we go to a western town. Looks pretty dead.
Yeah.
Not much going on there. And George Kennedy. He's probably the biggest star in this movie. Is George Kennedy and his wife, Dorothy Lamour. He plays Ray and his wife, Martha. They're stuck in this kind of dead town. I'm guessing on Indian reservation. And he has a little shop. And there's an old cigar Indian out front. And there's Dorothy Lamour. This was Dorothy Lamour's last picture. This was her last movie.
Why is she familiar? Why I can't play?
Dorothy Lamour did Bob Hope and Bing Crosby road movies. That's her fame to claim.
Okay.
Her claim to fame. But she did a lot of movies back in the 40s and the 50s and even the 60s.
Did she
And
do Hell? Was she the
what's
one?
that?
Hell?
No.
Okay.
No, she wasn't.
Okay. Thank you.
That was Rory Calhoun was in that, and actually, if you look carefully, Cliff Clavin, John Ratzenberger's in that. Anyway,
it was one of the burnouts. Sorry, go back to. I didn't mean to go off topic, but
so you're probably confusing her, and a lot of people did with Yvonne Craig. Yvonne Craig. No, not Yvonne Craig. Who played Lily Munster? Oh my God, I can't believe I can't remember this.
Okay, I got you now.
Yvonne DiCarlo. They were two very exotic women in movies back in the 40s and 50s. And again, they get mixed up a lot. So, but no, Dorothy Lamour is more famous for doing road pictures with Bob Hope and Bing Crosby.
Okay. Thank you.
She died before this movie was released, unfortunately. This was her last performance on film. This is Benjamin. He's the head of the Indian tribe there. And they've borrowed a lot of money from the general store there owned by Ray and Martha. So he brings a little pouch that has some valuable turquoise jewelry that the Indians have made. It's the treasure of the Indian tribe.
Yeah.
And he says, you can keep this and hold on to this until we can pay you the money that we owe you.
Yeah.
And they're stunned by this gesture.
Yeah.
Especially the wife. The wife is very cynical. She doesn't like the fact that her husband has got such a soft heart and gives away too much. So this surprises her. So Benjamin now, unfortunately, has a nephew, an estranged nephew, Sam White Moon, played by Holt McCallady.
Yes.
He was an Irishman playing an Indian. That's kind of weird. But anyway, and behind them there, the fat guy is actually Hal Holbrook's son, David Holbrook.
Oh.
So they did get a Holbrook into this picture. Hal Holbrook was in the first one, of course, in the crate. And David Holbrook is in this one as one of Sam White Moon's confederates in crime here. So Sam is threatening them, and that is Don Harvey as Andy. Andy's a rich kid that hangs out with Sam, and Sam is leading him down the path to the dark side. I want to say that guy, Don Harvey, was in another Stephen King movie called And They Come Back. Sometimes They Come Back, which was a TV movie. I swear that he is in that, but I could not find that in his Wikipedia. Anyway, so I might keep looking at that and see if I find it, because I'm pretty sure he's in that. So they're terrorizing poor Ray and Martha, and he's holding a gun on Martha, and then it just goes off. So we see Dorothy Lamour shotgunned in this film.
Yes.
And she does a wonderful job of dying. And George Kennedy moves forward, and he gets shot and killed. So here comes the strangest part of this movie. And it's got a lot of strange things in it. The guys take off in their car, and old Chief Woodenhead there comes to life.
Yes.
And there's this long, lengthy scene where he goes and he taps down on the paint, and he puts the war paint on his face, and he makes this sound.
Like he's coming back to life. That's the sound.
Yes. And as strange as that sound is, it is apropos for what's going on here. It is a very strange noise, though. So there it is. So he comes back to life, and he goes after the guys. The fat guy, Andy. I'm sorry. What is his name? I can't remember his name. Anyway, he lives in a trailer. He lives in a single wide trailer, and he's sitting down with snacks, and he's ready to watch his movie. Or actually, and he gets arrows, and one right through the head.
Oh yeah, right.
By the way, we show gruesome stuff on this show. We are the Cliff Notes of horror, and yes, as part of the show, we have to show gruesome stuff sometimes because some of these movies are pretty gruesome. So, yeah, it's a spoiler alert. We go from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie in slides, and again, that includes some gory stuff and sometimes some nudity. So, yes.
Oh,
Oh, that's a new one. I haven't seen that one yet.
there might.
I tried to find him on Facebook and Instagram, and I could not find Hal Holbrook's son,
David.
David.
Let's look him up. Well, here's his IMDb.
Yes, he's on IMDb, but that's about it.
That's about it, huh?
Yeah. So I reached out to a couple of people hoping to get them to come on the show. Paul Satterfield, who's coming up in the Raft, the next segment.
Oh.
I reached out to him, even as far as to send him a link to the show 5 minutes before the show, just in case he wants to join us.
Just in case. That's pretty cool.
So he plays Deke. I really wanted to talk to David, though, because I want to talk to him about his dad as well.
Right.
But there it is. Where okay. So, and Don Harvey. I reached out to Don Harvey as well. Andy is trying to sneak out. They're going to leave town with the money that they stole. They stole the Indian jewelry, and they're going to skip out on town, go to Hollywood, and see if they can make their way in Hollywood. So, Andy is sneaking out. His parents are watching. They're all watching an old TV show, Cisco, the Cisco Kid,
Yes.
because they talk about the Cisco Kid a lot in the Raft. So that's one linking thing for all these stories. They're all talking about Cisco Kid. Anyway, so he goes out, and out in the garage, his car has been totaled. It's been hatcheted up.
Yes.
By Old Woodenhead, who gets around fast.
Yeah.
For a wooden statue, this damn thing gets around fast. I mean, like the Flash fast.
Yeah.
Because he got from that trailer all the way over to here pretty damn fast. So we have a great tableau on the wall, shadow on the wall, nice homage to some earlier films like Nosferatu and all. And you see that hatchet go up, and we got a nice little blood splatter on the wall. Nice touch.
Yeah.
I mean, classy way to do it. And then they show the dead body,
Yeah.
which is all hacked up. So arrows for the first kid, hatchet for this one, and then Sam Whitemoon is getting ready. He's waiting for them to pick him up.
Yep.
He's waiting for Andy to pick him up, and then Old Woodenhead shows up again, damn fast. He is already at Sam Whitemoon's house. He's coming in the front door. Sam Whitemoon freaks out, as anyone would in a situation like that, and begins shooting his shotgun at Old Woodenhead. But of course, he's a wooden Indian. He's not going down.
Nice.
So, and again, he does not make any noise, Old Woodenhead, any except for that first when he comes to life. That's it. Ooh, that's it. That's the only thing we get. So Sam goes into the bathroom, and then he's trying to get out the back window, and a hand comes through the wall. Old Woodenhead reaches right through the wall. So it must be another trailer or cheap house. And he pulls him by his beautiful hair. That's the one thing. He's always flipping his hair back. And he's when Hollywood sees my beautiful hair, man, they're going to go, hey, baby, where have you all been all my life? He's an ass. Anyway, he's a narcissist.
Yes.
So old Chief Woodenhead pulls him through the wall, and a knife comes up.
Scalp.
And, just before we get the slice, the shot cuts away. Benjamin wakes up. His uncle wakes up the next morning, and he's got the bloody pouch with the jewelry in it in his bed with him.
That's right.
So naturally, he goes to the shop, and he sees Old Woodenhead out front. He doesn't go inside and see the bodies of Ray and Martha. they don't go into that. He just sees Old Woodenhead's got the war paint on his face.
That's
And he's
right.
looking up proudly in the sky. And then he looks down in Old Chief Woodenhead's hand, and there's Sam's scalp.
That's
He
right.
scalped him. He scalped him. And that's the twist at the end. He scalped that beautiful hair.
That was going
Take
to
that.
take to Hollywood.
So we see little Billy at the post office. And the old guy at the post office is kind of lascivious. I mean, he's kind of a pervert, I think. He just seems a little too interested in Billy's business. There you go, Billy. You got another one. So I don't know. He just looks kind of sly and nasty, like a pervert. Anyway, so Billy has got another package that he's ordered, and again, the key here is he says you got another package. Okay, that's what we're supposed to catch. Goes down to the next window, and it's old the creep. Hey, kiddies, time for another story. By the way, I need to point out that there was an actor that did the voice for the creep in the cartoon segments, and then Tom Savini. Tom Savini was one of the names added to this film for star power. He's a famous special effects makeup guy. Yeah, he did the Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead. You know, he did those pictures. He did the special effects for Creepshow 1, the first Creepshow. And he's in this as the creep, physically he's the creep.
Yes, there's
not the voice, but
that was made about him. That's actually really interesting. So
yeah,
if it's worth a mention since you brought him up, I remember seeing it. So.
There you go.
Cool stuff.
So the next segment is probably the scariest. It's called The Raft. And I remember reading this in one of Stephen King's short story collections. I think
I've read it so many.
Skeleton Crew, maybe.
It's either is it Skeleton Crew or Night Shift? I forget.
It's one or the other. It's either Night Shift or Skeleton Crew. It's in there. It's one of the more horrific stories. Yeah.
Worse. Oh, so great.
Yes, the story is so much worse than this representation.
It really is. But this is it's such a graphic one, you know.
Yes.
So it's something so.
Yes, the descriptions of the deaths are King is what King is known for.
Yeah.
So we start out with Bumblebee. No, we start out with the hot rod. They're driving down to the lake.
That's right.
A remote lake that people don't go to a lot, and they're smoking weed in the car. You know.
Yeah.
And 2 guys, 2 girls. The redhead doesn't seem to be too interested in smoking the weed. She doesn't seem to be too interested in the guy that they set her up with either in the back seat, which is Randy, played by Daniel Beer. I don't think he did a lot of other stuff after this. Paul Satterfield, who plays the driver, Deke, this guy's a very handsome actor. He looks like a blonde Christopher Reeves. If you look at his bone structure, I mean, it's very similar. He looks like Christopher Reeves' brother, blonde brother.
You'd be surprised to know that the man Daniel Beer was, I don't know what he was, but he was in Point Break, starring Patrick Swayze.
Yes, he was.
There you have it.
Yeah. And that's Paige Hanna.
Yeah.
I don't have the other actress's name in front of me right now. I was doing that. I was writing those as the credits were rolling for the beginning of the show. So if you can look that up, that would be great. Because both of the girls should be recognized.
Her name was Patricia Tallman. I think this is what I'm looking at. I think.
Patricia Tallman. Okay.
Tallman. Yeah.
Tallman. All right.
Doesn't say who she is, but I recognize the face. I recognize her face in the picture.
Okay. So they're swimming out to the raft. The water's very cold, and Randy looks over and sees a duck being pulled into something that looks like an oil slick.
Yeah.
And again, the duck isn't just caught in the oil slick, it's pulled down.
Eaten.
Underneath the oil slick. It's been eaten. It's been consumed. So he looks at this oil slick, and it's moving. It's moving towards the raft.
Correct.
So he freaks out. He's like, hey, come on, get on the raft. Come on, hurry. And they're all freaking out going, what the hell's wrong with you?
Right.
Dude, relax. Come on, smoke some more weed.
Correct.
But there's something about this oil slick and the way that it's making its way towards them that scares him. So they get the girl, the redhead, on board. And the last one that gets on board, and there's a lot of slipping and fumbling and, to ratchet up the tension.
Yeah.
And this slick is making its way around the side of the raft to her side of the raft. They get her on just in time. And this is also very important about the story. Well, the car's, they're playing music by itself. There's no way to get to it now. Yes. They're trapped. Because the thing moves pretty damn fast. But the thing in the story was how it hypnotizes you. If you look at it too long, it'll hypnotize you into like reaching forward to it.
It was like swirly colors that hypnotized you and kind of drew you into it.
They kind of imply that in the movie, but they, it doesn't really say it, I mean, they imply it. So she, the redhead, reaches out and kind of puts her finger on the greasy oil slick because, we do stupid stuff when we're young.
Yeah.
And immediately it lashes out and grabs onto her arm and turns it into a bloody mess. So it's acidic. It kind of burns you as it consumes you.
Yes.
And it pulls her in.
Oh.
And they all freak out. Like, oh my God, Randy was right.
Yes.
He wasn't just stoned. So, and she's like, oh, it hurts. It hurts. Oh man. Ouch.
Right.
And sucks her down in there. So now we have a monster that is kind of an oil slick on a lake there. It's remote. Nobody comes out here. They're stuck there on the raft. The car is, far away. How are they going to get out of there? So Deke says, and again, he keeps quoting, he keeps calling his friend Cisco. He keeps quoting the Cisco kid.
Yeah.
He's like, look, I'm the best swimmer. I'm on the swim team, whatever, whatever. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he goes, I'm going to make a run for the, I'm going to swim to the shore, get to the car, and I'll get help.
Yes.
And just as he's explaining this to everybody, all of a sudden his face just goes, he reacts to the fact that the damn thing just came up through the middle of the boards.
And it's got him.
Of the raft, and it's got him by the leg.
Oh, and it's dissolving his leg.
It's dissolving his leg. It's pulling him down with great pressure.
Oh, it's so grody.
Got him by the ankle. And he's reaching out to them, and they're trying to reach out to him. And, I mean, this thing just pulls it. And then you can see it's oozing up through the cracks.
And
it pulls him down so hard, it pulls a big hole in the boards, and his leg breaks up by his face. Now, here's the part I don't get. Somehow his fingers came up, through the... again... Because the thing pulled him through a big hole. It made a big hole in the raft when it pulled him in.
Oh, he's like one.
But for some reason, his fingers were like between two boards here. I don't know what happened there. It's like, wait a minute. Did he reach back up through the thing? But it catches his ring. The last thing they see is his ring. So now she freaks out, jumps up into Randy's arms. The brunette, I'll say brunette, Patricia. And because the thing is trying to seep up and get them by the foot, just like it did, Deke. I like that name, Deke.
Yeah.
So very manly, masculine name, Deke. For a very manly, masculine actor. I really wish he had joined us on this. So, who knows? Maybe he'll be on It's Casual.
Next time.
Well, send him a copy of this, so we can watch it and see how much fun we had talking about the movie.
Right.
And I'm sure he had a lot of fun making the movie. That's what I wanted to hear about.
Oh, right. I want to hear about all that. I don't know. I can't even watch it back. Like just you describing what happens. What you get to see when it's filmed. I'm sure it's a much different process, but very.
The interesting thing about it is the way this thing kills three people in three different ways.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, the two girls were kind of the same, but but again, Deke being pulled down through the boards, pretty graphic, pretty nasty, and again, the girl being stupid enough to actually reach out to the thing and then being pulled in, and then they decide we're going to keep an eye on the thing. If the thing goes away, it's okay. We don't have to worry about it. We got to keep an eye on it, though. If it goes up underneath the raft, we got to keep our feet on the boards so it doesn't get us.
Yeah.
So night comes, and they get through the entire night, and the thing stays away. It doesn't go underneath the raft. It's just waiting.
Right.
And they actually fall asleep and wake up. And he wakes up and he's got bedhead, even though he hasn't been lying down. I like that little part. But
they have romance, which is kind of weird.
When you wake up in the morning, you want sex, So, or Ficky Waka, as my friend Karen likes to say. So he wakes up, and the first thing he's thinking about is, hey, I'm going to make some time here. So, yeah, he's pulling up her clothes. He's kissing on her, and she's responding. You know, she's moaning. You know, it's gentle. It's
got her face.
But we know what happens in horror movies when kids have sex, right? We know.
Somebody dies.
He lays her down on the boards. He doesn't watch the thing. The thing goes underneath and gets her face through the boards. Ah!
And this
ouch.
should be.
And this is the face of a guy that just went, oh, man, did I just screw up?
Right. Oh!
Man, she is just a gooey mess now. That acid thing is all over her face. She's pulling pieces of her face off. It's just nasty. And it pulls her right in.
That's right.
So, ouch. So now he's like, well, it's busy eating her. I'm going to make a break for it.
That's right.
So he swims back to shore. He tries to swim back to shore, and the thing's coming after him, but it is digesting her, you know, as we can see here. Nice oily skeleton mess. But it's coming around. It's like, hey, there he is. That's what I've been waiting for.
Yeah,
but
right.
It's coming around.
Face.
That's the way that oil slick would have sounded if it had a voice. Damn it, that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Like the creepy pervert at the
yeah, he later he puts on his clothes and he goes to the post office for Billy. So he gets to shore. Yeah, it's bearing down on him. It's almost on top of him. He gets to shore and he goes, I beat you. I beat you. And I think the ending to the story was different. I can't remember if it was different, but this was actually an interesting ending because he goes, I beat you in.
Right.
And then it comes in as a big wave.
Yeah.
It makes itself into a wave and swallows him up. You can see the little bump that's him going out to the sea, going out to the lake. So the camera pans past the car. On the other side, there's a sign that says no swimming.
That's right.
But it's covered in leaves, you know. We didn't see it.
Oh, well.
We go back to Billy, and he's on his bike, and he's reading Creepshow magazine as he's on his bike.
Yeah, he's just read this story. Is that right? Like he's read.
I guess so. And he's loving it. And then the 4 or 5 bullies, town bullies on bikes, they come after him.
This is such a cheesy part.
yeah, you know. And this is textbook. You know, he opens the package, takes out a little Venus flytrap that, you know, we find out that Billy has been ordering Venus flytraps because they eat meat.
Yeah.
That line gets said like 100 times because they eat meat. And he pisses off Billy so bad he gets a kick to the gonads. Hey, going too fast. Hey, come on, we're only at 6:35 here. Come on, go back. He gets a kick to the gonads because he stepped on Billy's Venus flytrap.
Yes.
So he's like, get him! Go get him, Cage! And they all chase after Billy. And out from behind a tree comes the creep. Well, Billy's looking like he's having some trouble. We'll go on to our next story. Now, here's the thing. Again, there's already a movie called The Hitchhiker, which is what this story is called. You know, B. Thomas Howell, Rutger Hauer, you know.
That's a
classic.
The Hitchhiker? Is it? Wait, no, The Hitcher.
Is that called The Hitcher?
The Hitcher.
I thought it was The Hitchhiker.
Well,
anyway, okay.
Show on HBO called The Hitchhiker.
Okay.
I think.
Well, I mean, the guy keeps saying, "Thanks for the ride, lady."
Yeah.
Thanks for the ride, lady. They should have just called it "Thanks for the ride, lady." What, don't you think that would have made a better title for? Thanks for the ride, lady.
The Hitcher, baby. The Hitcher.
I don't remember seeing this short story in any of his collections. But then again, I might not have read everything that Stephen King, every short story collection.
I don't feel like this one is a familiar one to me as well. And a lot of his
Old Chief Woodenhead is another one. I don't remember seeing that anywhere else.
Yeah,
they're Stephen King stories, so he must have published them somewhere.
But you know what? Because it was such a low budget movie, I feel like kind of just tossed him a bone, maybe. He's like, I'll give you the raft.
Well,
That's a good one.
again, the script was made by George A. Romero, who produced the film.
Yeah.
So again, he wanted to make another Creepshow because the first Creepshow made a lot of money,
Yeah.
you know, for him and for Stephen King and for everybody else. So, but he just wanted to do it on a lower budget. So they originally had planned to do 5 stories. And again, the animation is really the 4th story.
Yeah, it is. I was going to say that's like the 4th story. Just
So,
out of lane.
so in any case, they ended up only doing 3 of the stories. And if you go to Wikipedia, you can see the names of the other 2 stories that they were going to do. And those stories were done later, like on other TV shows and stuff.
Oh.
But they just decided, nah, it'd be too much money. You can't do that. So that's why they went with the animation and they went with this. So anyway, so okay, so Billy's on the run with the gang coming after him, and we're going into our last story, which is the hitchhiker.
Yes.
The hitchhiker.
Thanks for the ride.
Thanks for the ride, lady. And star power, kind of. She was in Moonraker as Holly Goodhead. One of my favorite James Bond girl names, Holly Goodhead.
Holly Goodhead.
How'd you like to introduce that to your parents? I think.
Oh, there she is.
Here's my girlfriend, Holly Goodhead. But her name is Lois Chiles, the actress.
Oh, it's Childs. I was wondering, how do you say the Childs? Nice.
Yeah, Lois Chiles, Chiles. I always thought it was Childs, like Julia Childs. Oh yes, Julia Childs. We're going to cook chicken.
But she plays a cougar. She's kind of a cougar, you'd say.
She is definitely a cougar.
Right.
And this guy is not Richard Gere. Okay, but call me anytime, baby. Call me day or night. And that movie was I think big around that time. You know, early mid '90s. Anyway, or early mid '80s. I mean.
Yes.
So what has happened is she is sleeping over at a gigolo's house, and he sets his alarm clock is one of those automatic alarm clocks, and the power went out, so it's blinking 12. And she looks at her watch, which is on the nightstand, and she's like, "Oh my God, I've got 15 minutes to get home before my husband gets home." So again, she's like you said, she's a cougar. She needs loving, and she dresses quickly, and there is some nudity here, which I tried to bypass for the obvious reasons. YouTube does not like nudity. And the guy is like, well, you know, we should divorce him and come with me. And she's like, yeah, right, whatever. Silly banter. So she gets in her car and she's like, again, he's going to be home at 11:45. I got like 20 minutes to get home before he gets there. So she's fumbling around the car, making up stories in her head. She's saying out loud. And then she drops a cigarette in her lap.
Yeah.
And loses control of her car. And she hits a guy on an on-ramp, played by Tom Wright. Tom Wright is the hitchhiker. And she kills him. He's dead.
Yes.
There's pretty much no doubt. He's not getting up. He's not moving.
No.
His sign, which says Dover, he's going to Dover, flies all the way across over to her windshield, and flies on her windshield.
Yes.
And it's bloody. So she decides, she sees headlights coming over the ridge. She decides, I'm running for it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna flee the scene. Nobody knows that I hit this guy. Nobody can prove it. I'm out of here.
Exactly.
And here's the irony. The guy that shows up is her husband.
Yeah, right.
The guy that shows up at the accident is her husband. And Stephen King shows up, which is really a big, huge surprise. And he's driving a tractor trailer truck.
Yeah. He always plays a little bit part, though.
He always plays somebody in his movies. And in this one, he plays the truck driver. Somebody creamed a guy. That's a great line. So, yeah, they call the cops. The guy's dead. And Stephen King sets up a flare. And Lois Childs is like, Childs is like, oh my God, I just killed the guy. And she almost, it's like, I'm going to turn myself in. She was like saying, I got to turn myself in. And then she talks herself out of it. Wait a minute. I'm rich. I'm entitled. This is like a perfect movie for or story for this time. You know, all this rich entitled people. Anyway, sorry, I'm going off. So she's driving along and she sees the hitchhiker, and she looks over her shoulder, and she doesn't see him, and then she looks over to her window, and he's like, he's there, and he's all bloody. He's like, "Thanks for the ride, lady," which is creepy enough.
Correct.
So she takes off with him holding onto her car.
Oh God, yes.
And then he ends up making his way to the roof, and he starts coming through the sunroof of the car. Ah, thanks for the ride, lady. Let me grab your hair. Thanks for the ride, lady.
Thanks for the ride, lady. Over and over again.
And she is going all through the woods of this car. I'm surprised this car isn't a dented mess by now.
Right.
It is later. after like, hours of this stuff. It seems. She goes through a lot of woods in this car with him on top of the car and on the side of the car and under the car. So yeah, now he's over on the right hand side. Ah! She pulls out a gun. She shoots the hell out of this guy, but he's dead. She shoots him and shoots him and shoots him. He says, "Thanks for the ride, lady. Thanks for the bullets, lady." Then she runs over him. Look at that face.
She's just gone
I'm
mad.
gonna run you down.
Yes.
She just runs over him and backs over him and runs over him. He is just a squash mess. There he is being run over.
Yes.
I almost said run over.
I heard.
I snorted. So she takes off again, thinking she's killed him. And he's underneath the car now. He makes his way up on the hood. And he shows the sign that says Dover, and it changes to "You killed me."
Yeah.
So she's really freaking out now.
Yes.
You killed me. So she ends up going through some more woods, and then she smashes into a tree, straight head on into a tree.
Yes.
Bangs her forehead, she smashed her forehead. This was before, airbags were popular, I guess. And she bangs into the tree again and again and again. She just makes him a pulpy, bloody mess. And then she drives away, and now the car is a mess. I mean, it is an absolute wreck. It's a mess. And she putters on home, and she gets into the garage, and her husband's not there. Oh, I beat him. Oh, that's great. And then the guy comes up again.
Pulp.
He's all bloody. He's just a bloody, pulpy mess.
Yes.
And he's all over kissing her. So her husband comes home. There's a lot of carbon monoxide in the garage there because the car is just a wreck.
Yes.
And he finds her dead from carbon monoxide poisoning, and the Dover sign is in her lap over her stomach. And that's the little twist at the end.
Yeah.
So there's the three stories. We follow with Billy. Billy's being chased by the big hulkish, I guess he's a teen. I don't know. Maybe he just hangs out with teens and he flunks school. And anyway, Billy takes him to a keep out private property place. The sign says keep out in red, private property in black.
Yeah.
And Billy sits and waits for them to get to him. Why? Because he's got giant Venus flytraps that he has been. This wasn't his first package of Venus flytraps. He's got like 3 or 4 of these boogers in this private lot area. 4 of them. Look at that. And
Yeah.
it just happens to be 4 guys on bikes. So the Venus, look how large those things are. Do you remember the Venus flytraps when you got them? Things were tiny. They were little. I mean, they were cool to watch them when they ate flies and stuff, but they were just tiny.
Little small.
Giant Venus flytraps.
Yeah, they sell them at the grocery store now. Dude,
Well, who would sell one that's big enough to eat a human? I mean, seriously.
a comic book and back in the day.
Giant Venus flytrap.
Re-questioning.
So big, he can swallow you whole. They eat meat.
All happy. Yay.
Now, why they don't eat Billy? I don't know. He's right there in their.
Seymour, isn't he more like their Seymour?
He's the one that brings them food, so they're good to him. They don't need him because they're good to him. They bring meat. He brings meat.
Yeah, he's like.
So now we come to the live sign. Couldn't they match the sign with the red letters up at the top? And It says keep out private property, all in black, smaller letters. Anyway,
That would have been a read.
I'm splitting hairs now. And then we get the creep. There's Tom Savini again.
Yes.
And he's just throwing, at this point, he's giving away all of his comic books. He's just throwing them out the back of the truck now. Yeah, come on, free comic books. Aren't you supposed to make a profit on these? Come on now.
He just wants to get some souls.
Read my comic books and go to hell. I love it. I'm just giving away. I want your soul. I want Billy. I want you to be like Billy and kill people.
Pretty much.
Bring him to private property and eat him. There he is, throwing him out the back. And we get another blast of the theme song from the movie, which actually the theme song of the movie is what we hear when the old wooden head comes to life. That's the actual Creepshow 2 theme. And it's actually a very, very nice theme. It's a very interesting theme. And you can find it on YouTube, I'm sure. You know, I mean, I know that it's been released. The album of the movie has been released because the guy that composed it, I don't know what other movies he's done.
Well, they used to have, that was part of the movie back in the day. The soundtrack would be released for horror movies. And
I think it was one of those deals where they didn't release it when the film came out. He released it like 10 years later.
Right on.
The composer probably released it to see if he could make any money,
Well, we have it.
So there it is. So Creepshow 2. Yeah, I knew we were going to blaze through this one fast because there was only 3 stories. It was only an hour. It was like right at an hour and a half, the movie.
Yeah, the cartoon, the superficial one is just not much. There's not much to it. Meat.
Billy, they eat meat.
Eat meat.
They eat meat. And the guy at the post office was like, Billy, you like people who eat meat, do you?
Here, do you want to hear? Here's part of the
bastard.
Here's if you want to kill a minute, I just found a bunch of reviews for the movie that people.
Okay, good.
Here's someone who gave it 3 stars. This is
okay.
Such a huge step down from the first movie in every way, but I still dig it, and I think that's probably got more to do with nostalgia than anything. So
the stories were interesting.
Yeah, let's
see.
The
Stephen King stories are interesting. Stephen King knows how to write a story.
A lame sequel to Creepshow. Positives: the hitchhiker segment. Some good effects. Negatives: most of the segments are boring and uninteresting. The characters suck. Lacks the charm to the original. Wait, someone said mostly terrible.
The characters sucked.
Mostly
Don't mince words here now. Tell us how you feel.
Right. Wait, this is a good one. Mostly terrible, but I had fun. That's from a review.
It's worth a view. Come on.
I'm trying
Stephen
to
King.
Short ones, but no, that's it. Not too many. Wait, is this another one? No, not another one. There's a couple that are very, very long. Like some people really.
The problem was Creepshow. The original Creepshow was very good. It was very well made in every respect. And again, it's a classic horror film. Fans love that film. So to try to recreate that, they did a Creepshow 3. I'll be honest with you, I've never even seen it. It was so bad. I watched like 10 minutes of it, and I what the hell is this?
I recently did try to start. I started to watch it because it's on Prime or something. I saw it on that was one of my streaming services, and I remembered nothing of it, none of it. I didn't.
Again, I tried to watch it like a couple of times, I think, and I just I got through about 4 or 5 minutes. I'm like, what is this? This isn't Creepshow. What the hell?
It's got even lower ratings than the Creepshow 2.
Yeah, I'd like to read some of the reviews of that one. Uh-oh. There you are. You keep coming and going.
It's because my phone keeps ringing. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, somebody's trying to call you during the show. I understand.
I'm trying to shut it off quickly. But...
So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
The characters sucked.
That's what it said.
I remember one review that somebody wrote for like a newspaper. They They made a cute quote about Old Woodenhead, and a truly wooden performance by Old Woodenhead. Oh, how cute you are, you critic, you.
That, you know, average Joe like reviews, though, you know, from your basic.
Again, they compare it to Creepshow 1, but they usually say, but I still liked it.
Yeah, they did. Like said, they had fun. It was
Yeah.
terrible, but I had fun.
It was terrible.
That's what it says.
But I had fun.
I had fun.
Hated the animation, but I loved the raft.
I'm not. I always love that story, and it is from Skeleton Crew, and I've read that story so many times, and it's just it's just so cringy, every part about it. So.
Well, thank you again for joining us on another Stephen King Fest movie. I don't think we're going to do Creepshow 3 on this show. I don't.
It's not even.
I don't think I want to force myself and you to watch that. There's plenty of other good Stephen King films we haven't done yet. Maximum Overdrive. Come on. Sleepwalkers. The Lawnmower Man. There's a lot of stuff we haven't covered yet.
So many crazy ones.
What was the one where the guy get Thinner? It's called Thinner.
Yes, that's a good one. That's
that
actually
was a fun one.
That's like something that keeps coming up in my streaming thing. That and Sometimes They Come Back. That's a great short story.
Tim Matheson from Animal House.
Yes, he is the main character.
I gotta find a copy of that. I gotta find a copy of that. I remember that film. It was a good film. It was a TV movie and it was a good film.
Yeah, some of his stuff.
It seemed a lot like Christine. We did Christine on here before. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, it's got the same, like, you know, the same kind of references with the music.
Yeah, with the teacher and the students. And, pretty cool.
That are coming back.
We'll do that soon. We'll do it sometime soon. All right. So thank you, folks, for coming and joining us. No Icing comes right after us in about 6 minutes. And we'll be back next week with Major Hazzard has definitely got to be here. This is mandatory. We're going to do arachnophobia.
I'm already having nightmares just thinking about it. I'm having nightmares just thinking about it.
Yes. And Havoc will be here. We're going to have Havoc come back for that.
Sergeant Havoc is going to have to be here.
It's about spiders.
Sergeant Havoc is going to have to be here.
And what's really terrifying about it is there's one big spider and a whole bunch of little ones that are really deadly poisonous.
Oh, I'm familiar. I'm familiar with the training film.
They make you bite your tongue in half.
Ever since I first saw it as a child, as a little impressionable, vulnerable child, I was exposed to this training film. I never left my psyche.
Starring John Goodman and Julian Sands. Julian Sands just passed away like a couple of months ago.
Yes.
Oh,
So
that's awful.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing that one next week on homage to Mr. Julian Sands.
That's right. And thank you so much, Ruby, for being here. Ruby, your reactions, your insights, your personality, your warmth, your beauty, your glamorous beauty. We love you so much when you're here. You always class up the joint. We're always so proud to have you here.
Thanks,
Indeed.
We love it.
Class it up.
And you know you're Stephen King.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
Okay, good night, everybody. We'll see
All
you
right,
with
keep an eye out for those big monsters.
Bye-bye now.